Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Walt Wines Happy Hour, the show where great minds drink alike. My name is Jeff Sapelli. I'm the general manager for Walt Wines, and it is fall. It's football season, and we really wanted to get this going in the best way we can. So we brought on both one of my favorite athletes that I followed when he was at the University of Oregon, and now an incredible producer of one of the most watched shows on Netflix, All American. We'll have Spencer Paysinger joining us momentarily to talk about all of those things. And please make sure that you keep your questions, that you ask your questions. I'll try to pick them up as best I can out of the comments, or else just drop them in the question mark or in the question box. But this is harvest. It's the football season, and bringing in grapes happens literally at the same time here at the winery, and we are very excited to announce that our 2019 Bob's Ranch is in the Wine Spectator's Pinot Report with a 94-point score, which was incredible. Today we're going to talk about our Oregon Pinot Noir from the Shea Vineyard, because nothing would be more appropriate than talking Oregon with Spencer Paysinger. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. How's everything?
Good, man. Good. Thanks so much. It's great to actually see you in person. This is I'm a big, obviously, being a Duck, is watching you guys play. The least I could do is send you a bottle of wine. So cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I see you got the O in the background. So I was saying, like, I think I can always, my brain is trained to spot the O anywhere. Like when I'm like driving on the street and I see it, I'm just like, oh, I think I know that person.
Yeah, boom. Yeah.
You don't know that person.
I mean, there's how many of us, and a lot of Californians, though, that we all went to school there. So
Exactly.
yeah, that was cool. That was cool. So how are you doing, man? I know that you've got a lot going on. You've got your show. You just got your show just got lit for season 4.
Yes.
And so what's happening in your world while people are kind of getting on?
Yeah, we just started production on season 4. I was on set till like 6 a.m. Yesterday morning. So
Oh, wow.
I'm glad we scheduled this today and not yesterday, or else I would have been good to anybody.
Good.
We have the spin-off is coming. We're gearing that up right now, and as well as Away from All American. I'm writing a film for a big company right now. I can't really say it yet, and it should
Oh,
be released soon. And then producing a handful of unscripted as well as scripted ideas as well. So I'm in it now. This is my
yeah.
career.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I was going to start talking about football, but just because it's timely, but since you're talking about these things, just so you know, the best place to break news is the Walt Wines Happy Hour. Our social media page is followed by, I'm just kidding, man. Well, congrats. I think, in an interview I saw, you said something about, you've already accomplished a lot of what you were set out to do by the time you were 30.
Yes.
So, I mean, you went from playing a huge role with Oregon in football, right, to 2011 national champion, or national championship, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
I hated that
Ah.
game. Stupid field goal. He was down, by the way. That
He
guy
was
was.
down, but let's not get into that. He was down
No,
though.
we're not. Let's talk about. So then next year, so you literally go from playing in Arizona, the national championship game, to playing the Super Bowl the next
Yes.
year. I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, it was I believe a 13-month span of ending my career at Oregon, being a 3-year starter there, losing in the national championship against Cam Newton and Auburn,
Right.
to essentially going undrafted. I mean, our team made it to the national championship. We were undefeated up to that point, but we actually only had one player drafted, which is my good friend Casey Matthews.
Yep.
So that was also during the year of the NFL lockout. So after the draft, when players are getting picked up in free agency, it was remote silence for about 4.5 months,
Oh shit.
to the point where I believe it's July 25th. I still have it in my calendar.
Uh-huh.
That's when the lockout officially ended, and I fielded calls from a handful of teams and ended up deciding to go with the Giants over the Cowboys. And we just had that first season, my rookie year, we didn't have a spring ball, and we got into fall camp, and it was one of those, hey, we're kind of behind schedule right now, so like rookie,
Yeah,
learn on the fly, but like we can't sit down and like teach you every little thing. So
for sure.
um, so it was just that I feel like we had a perfect season. It wasn't so much going undefeated and running through every single team. It was starting off hot, not winning a game in November to the point where I think we called November no win November. That's how it's historically remembered.
Right.
And then by like week 13 or 14, it was win or go home. So we kind of got into that mindset. That was where, the world started to understand Victor Cruz and who Victor Cruz was. So
Oh, for sure. I remember the dance.
yeah, that's the year that Victor Cruz became Victor Cruz. So
Yeah.
we went into the playoffs and we went against some amazing teams, Aaron Rodgers and the 49ers and Atlanta, and came out the other end. I think we were 9-7 and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was a
What a
storybook
ride.
season. And actually, this year is our 10-year anniversary, so I will be back in New York doing the whole weekend at a Giants game.
I was gonna say we're 9 months, or we're 9 years, 11 months to today. Today's the 25th of you getting signed by the Giants.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
congrats, man. That's
Thank you,
awesome. Yeah, that
thank
is
you.
cool. So just real quick for the football fans, ton of people are coming in right now asking about American All-American, and I want to get to that. But just wanted to get some thoughts from you on the college season. We were chatting a little bit about the Ohio State game, and then what do you think about the upcoming NFL season? Fans are going to be back in. We're going to be able to watch live.
Yeah,
What's your thought on that?
I think the college season is going to be interesting. Obviously, based off of the past year that we've had with COVID, and now, fans are going to be back in there. I know SEC fans were there from the start, so like
Right. Yeah.
they got the advantage there. But specifically for Oregon too, I mean, I really don't watch other teams besides Oregon.
Yeah.
I think our defense will be stout, and I think last year was a good year to get a lot of those offensive starters just some practice reps. Like I personally don't count last year, but the fact that they got those reps early
Yeah.
on and they're able to build that chemistry is going to help them tremendously this year.
Yeah. And hi, Hannah from Eugene. Um, yeah. I actually counted because we won the Pac-12, so I'll take
I'll
it.
I'll count that, but
Yeah.
like anything else, like nah. If we didn't win it, I'm like nah, it's a wash.
For sure, for sure. Oh man, yeah. So we could talk about football all day. But you're a producer, you're a writer, you're an actor. I actually caught you. I think you were in the show, right? In All American.
Yeah, I'm technically the defensive coach for Billy Baker. So
Okay.
I was the coach for the Beverly Eagles, and I've been the coach for South Crenshaw this season. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in the background. I got a couple lines this year.
Yeah, for sure. I'm throwing the O for the Rip City jogger that's showing us up here. So I mean, so you graduate, you get out of football, right? And you're writing this pilot. You're also involved in a bunch of other things that I don't think people know about on a business level, right? Ways that football players can actually, After Ball, I think was the name of the company that you guys founded. Um, but tell me about the transition from literally, I think you were playing football and you were writing this story, and it's based on your story. So, what was that like?
Yeah, that was something that came about specifically with writing, where every off day is Tuesday in the NFL, depending on which team you are, is primarily Tuesday.
Right.
So for 7 years, every off day I would go to the theater and see a new movie. It didn't matter what it was about, the runtime. I just like that was part of my like healing process was I wake up, I go to treatment, I lay on the
Hmm.
couch, lick my wounds, make dinner,
Right.
and then go to the theater and then pretty much start the week again on Wednesday preparing for a new team. So after a while, I just got to the point where I was calling out things that were happening in movies before they were happening. So I was like, oh, there's a structure to this. I'm
Hmm.
interested in learning the structure. So I started watching YouTube videos. I found scripts that you could read online. Like, and for those of you out there that are interested in even
Uh-huh.
writing, like any most films, if you type in the film name and then PDF after on Google, you'll find a version of that script online.
Oh, all right.
Um, so that's how I started learning. I mean, I'm writing scripts or just stories in general, like on flights from away games and home from away games,
Hmm.
and just kind of diving into that. Where I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with it. I just liked the structure
Yeah.
of storytelling. So fast forward 2 or 3 years, and my now producing partner Dane Mork, the first night that we met was on a bye week, I believe, my second to last year playing, and we started talking about just growing up in Los Angeles, both saying we're from Los Angeles and repping it to the fullest, but then also having two completely different ideas of what Los Angeles is. He grew up in
Yeah.
Palos Verdes. I grew up in South Central,
Right.
but we are both like anywhere else. We're like, yeah, we're from LA, and we know what that comes with. So um, from that first conversation, we started circling the idea of you know, what could this world be? And I told him about how, not living in
Mm-hmm.
BH, but commuting every day and
Mm-hmm.
stories about, going to school in BH, but also living in South Central. And he just thought it was so interesting to the point where we were able to get like literally a one-page document in front of Greg Berlanti, who's the EP of the show.
Uh-huh.
And he loved it enough to schedule a meeting with me while I was still playing. And I believe I want to say it was January 2018. Oh no, 2017.
You don't have a very specific
Um,
memory at all.
I'm wired for it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
cool.
he we had we just sat down. I told him a couple stories, and I think a few weeks later, going into my last season playing, we were developing out what is now All American. So that's how it
That's
came to be.
awesome. It's a fun show. Like I plugged it on. Actually, Desiree, our social media manager at the winery,
Hmm.
she's like, you got to watch this. You're a football fan, and I was like, there's an Oregon. And so then later on we found out that we were able to have you on the show. But like for you, what was it like going into the entertainment industry? You're telling Tay Diggs, what to do, and it's largely a story about you, but there's some creative, turns that it makes, I think is the best way to say it.
Yeah, definitely some creative turns, and that was the biggest thing is understanding that everything from your past can't be shown on TV. Like, even if you try to remember what actually happened in your past, you're not remembering it exactly how it happened. So,
Yeah.
just allowing for that creative freedom to run and giving quality stories and memories that I experienced to a room full of writers and saying like, hey, let's make this as compelling as we can.
Right.
So, my DMs are flooded with, 60-year-old men as well as like teens trying to ask me like, who is Coop based off of? And you better not kill Coop. I saw some comments in here saying like, don't kill Coop. But it's cool because you look at that demographic and that range,
Hmm.
and that's what we wanted the show to do. We wanted to hit on such a wide margin that the baby boomers and Gen X can both watch this show and feel those same emotional beats that we wanted for them. So.
Yeah, no, I think you guys do a nice job. I mean, I also, the story is really interesting and you guys tell it really well, but I'm sure in every writing meeting, they're like, well, we need to either do this or do that because it's not going to flow for, you might have like three or four stories that you're telling. It's not
Yeah.
all about you, right? By the way, is Olivia your wife? Because that was one of the questions from that came in.
Strap in, just enjoy the ride. Who knows?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, tune in for season four. You also, there was a question that came in that you've been quoted saying that Beverly Hills is a scarier place than South Central. Um, I might say that, but I actually might agree with you because I sell a lot of wine in Beverly Hills. But what's it like the dichotomy of those two places? They're not far apart.
Yeah, well, I mean, the heart of that quote is saying it's the unknown that's scary.
Yeah.
Being in South Central, sometimes I'm more comfortable in South Central than I am in Beverly Hills, even to this day, because I know these streets. I have friends on different blocks in different areas, and outside looking in, a lot of people believe that South Central is everything south of the 10. So that's Compton, that's Watts, that's Long Beach,
Yeah.
that's South Central actually. And for me, I look at those areas as completely different entities. Watts
Hmm.
is not South Central. Watts is not Compton. Compton
Nope.
is not Long Beach. So
Yep.
when I went into Beverly Hills, um, it was just a different environment. It was an outsider being in a new world, and that's how we pitched it in those rooms. Was yes, this is a young black kid going from South Central to Beverly Hills, but at the end of the day, if you don't like football, if you've never watched it, you still understand what it's like to be an outsider in a new world. So that's
Yeah.
technically where the heart of that quote comes from.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great interview, and I thought that's a great way to put it. Coming back to like how you handle the show. So do you get to, so your character is Spencer James, and that's
Yes,
played by I think Daniel Ezra, if I'm
Daniel
right.
Ezra. Yep,
Yeah, and I'm looking at notes, but so
by all
forgive me
means.
if I'm slow. But So do you get to play with the cast and like actually, do you get to help them and direct them, or is that pretty much you just let the director manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm as hands off with the characters developing their own ideas of who they think those characters should be, or the
Hmm.
actors developing their own characters. Even with Spencer, um, I didn't want him when Daniel signed on and we met for the first time.
Yep.
I didn't want him to say like, "Hey, I need to follow you. I need to talk like you. I need to walk like you. I need to be like you." I pretty much told him just like, "Hey, go make Spencer James your character. Go whoever you think he should be.
Hmm.
Trust your intuition." And a large part of that comes from Nipsey Hussle. You know,
Oh yeah.
the late great rapper. That's Daniel Ezra actually crafted his South Central tongue just listening to Nipsey Hussle.
Oh, get
So
out. That's
yeah,
cool.
for me it was just that I was like, you know what, I don't want to hold you down and say, hey, this character needs to be this or needs to be that. Go, you're the actor, you're the expert. Like me playing football, somebody's not going to walk up to me and be like, this is how you do it when you've never done it before. So
Right.
I'm like, listen, I'll trust you. You're the actor. You've been doing this for years. If you need help, I'm here. But if not, like go off and run with it. So
Yeah, for sure.
he's amazing. He's an amazing actor, and I think not only him but the entire cast. There comes those those high school type shows every 7 to 10 years that it's Dawson's Creek, it's the
Hmm.
90210s of the world. It's those type of shows where you look up 5 years after they ended and those people are essentially the heads of Hollywood. They're getting the
Yeah.
$100 million films, and I really do think that about our cast is what we'll look up in 5 or 7 years, and you know. Uh, Michael, who plays Jordan, is going to be like heading up a franchise with Marvel or something, and
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and Daniel's going to be going like toe to toe with Denzel Washington or something. So it's exciting.
Well, I hope you're producing those shows, by the way, because it goes for you too, right? Like, the actors that are young get better and they get better shows.
I'll be
And
there.
it goes for you too, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I'm riding their coattails, so they can't get rid of me.
I think it's symbiotic. Hey, I want to talk about the wine real fast. So, by the way, for those of you, you've got lots of questions. I want to come back to the questions, but since Spencer and I both spent some time in college at the University of Oregon, we picked our 2018 WALT Shea
Yes,
Vineyard
yes,
Pinot Noir. So I was actually just up in Oregon
it's amazing.
about 3 weeks ago, right before the heat came. Got a chance to flew into Eugene and then drove north into the Willamette Valley. Um, so this is a wine. This is Walt Wines, by the way, for those of you guys who are just tuning in. So this is a wine that we produce from Oregon. We buy the grapes and we bring them down to the winery. Um, Oregon, as opposed to California wines, tend to be more. I don't want to say lean because this wine has a lot of flavor, but they're the earth components of the wine. And I'm going to sound now like a big wine dork. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. So it tends to be more earthy in quality. It's a cold, rainy place, right? You played football there for a number of years, and
That's
I
the
think,
profile. That's the
yeah,
profile of the area. You're speaking my language now.
yep, yep. It's rainy, it's dirty. You get mud on your. I just had mud in my jeans all the time. I remember there. I lived on 19th and walked directly through the graveyard. By the way, just so you know.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was it's the quickest way to school. Um, but what I love about this wine, aromatically, it's a beautiful red wine. Has a lot of those that pretty red floral fruit, and then on the palate, it's deceiving. You get that earth quality, but then the fruit really comes in later. So I was interested. What did you think? I know you guys drink a little bit of wine. Your wife has good taste in glassware.
very good taste, and I give that to her.
Yep.
To me, no, I really enjoy it. I'm always a fan of strong red wines. I think
Hmm.
I've converted my wife over to red wine as opposed to white.
Okay, cool.
Early on, I told her I would do that too. I was like, "You're going to be a red wine drinker, or else we're not getting married."
Yeah.
But no, it's amazing, and I even looked at the website to just kind of get a little bit more idea of what's behind the wine. And one word spoke out to me, and I want to ask you this:
Sure. Yeah.
what can you describe? Because it's technically self-explanatory, but like
Uh-huh.
the definition of what is it? It's called a mouthfeel.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What is mouthfeel? Because whoever wrote this description has a career in screenwriting. Because I read
Uh-huh.
that paragraph and I was like, I see it. Like it's all here right now.
So, our tasting notes are written by our winery, winemakers, actually. We have two incredibly talented women, Megan, led by Megan Gunderson. She's our head winemaker, and Allison Frichtel, who has actually a huge background in art as well. So mouthfeel. So what are we talking about? So there's a lot that goes into the textural component of how wine hits your palate, and by your palate, I mean, basically your tongue. We're looking for acidity, so that is the mouth-watering quality. As soon as wine kind of hits your tongue,
It's
you
that
should
like,
feel that. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It just really starts to there's a mouth-watering quality. You just start to salivate, and that usually comes from the acidity in wine. And then the next thing is flavor. So what we don't want to be is oak can have kind of an off taste if you have too much oak. So that can literally create kind of a rejection. That's how when I taste a big oak, whoa, that's like big and oaky. And then fruit, right? We want the fruit to be coating and concentrated, and specifically the mouthfeel we're looking for fruit is to really land in the center of your palate. And when we do that, we think that everything gets better. It just expands out. And the last thing is tannins. So tannins are the dryness that you perceive when wine comes in. So
Okay.
specifically red wines have tannin in them. Pinot, this is a Pinot Noir. So much more soft tannins. You're really gonna it was crazy. You just pointed to it. Like, we're looking for tannins to be right in here.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it's always back
Mhm.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you want it. You want these tannins to be formed in the recesses of your palate, not in the front, because a lot of there are grape varieties that do it, like Malbec, for instance. But Cabernet, often people really want to just hammer the front palate with that real drying tannin, and I'm always not. It's just not an impressive way to make the wine, because it's like it's jarring. We call it an angular tannin when it does that.
Mm.
It's an angular mouthfeel. It's kind of like a running back's coming around the tackle and they don't see you coming and you just smash them, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's an angular tannin, as opposed to you got a fly sweep, you're trying to evade the tackler and you guys kind of both go down.
Yeah.
That would be the softer tackle. That's what we're looking for as far as tannins go, I guess, to put it in a football analogy. I don't know if I nailed that
Well,
one, but
no, it's interesting because I never, even up to this point, I never really equated just like the different, I guess, areas that you can taste food within your mouth. It was always, oh, your tongue, like
yeah,
that's how you taste things, but you just kind of
yeah.
opened my perspective on like the different areas that can absorb that flavor. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, I've got 15 wines for you to try when you and your wife want to make a trip. You know,
Oh, we're down.
I give the kids. I know you got some young kids. I give them to the grandbaby, or you can bring your grandparents
No,
too. We just actually
nope,
had
nope. They like leave the kids. Leave the kids.
good idea. Yeah, we just hosted Marcus Mariotta's grandparents. He was actually up. They were
Oh,
up at the
nice,
winery, so that was pretty cool.
nice.
Um, but anyways, yeah, and anything you got, man. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Did want to get to some of the questions that we've got, because you've got a ton of questions, man, coming in.
Let's shoot.
So defense versus offense. You transitioned. You were a wide receiver and a defender, I think, in high school at Beverly. Is that right?
I did. I did. I'm trying to get that up the screen up. So,
Yeah,
I
here I can tell.
transitioned. I transitioned from a receiver to linebacker in college.
Yep.
Don Pelham, who was actually the linebacker coach at Oregon for 20 some odd years, he was the main recruiter for me coming out of Beverly. And actually, they were the only school that said there's an opportunity for you to play defense, but we're not sure yet. So
Okay.
every other school recruited me to play receiver. I was actually committed to Colorado for about 2 weeks as a receiver.
Yeah.
But when it came to making that decision after seeing with Oregon, after seeing what they had, seeing the facilities, I went down and watched them play the year before. I committed against Oklahoma at the Holiday Bowl. I think in I want to say oh 05. I want to say oh 05 or 06, whatever.
Yeah, probably.
I was like, you know what? I love playing receiver, but I think I can go further being a faster linebacker than a somewhat possession receiver. And I think I made the right decision.
I think you did too. You let us, or you were second. You let us it was you and Clay basically 1 and 2. You guys were
Hmm.
leading in tackles. You were fun to watch. Like, when I got pitched, like, hey, Spencer Paysinger wants to play. We know you're an Oregon Duck. I was like, he was killer. Like,
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate
um,
it.
yeah, no worries. But that transition, right? So do you still think that defense wins championships, or how would you embrace that question?
I mean, yes, absolutely. Because you can get into a shootout with the team, and you've seen those college games where it ends like 51-54, and it's
Yeah,
like, oh, this is the greatest college game ever. But then, as a defensive player, I'm like, we're fucking trash.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
there's no way we can let 51 hang on us. So
Yeah,
I think if you're able to have a stout defense, that can actually, to me, it's better than having the best quarterback in the league when you have a stout defense. You look at some of those iconic, even NFL teams.
yeah,
I would argue that Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl was because they had an all-time great defense.
yeah.
You're
Well,
talking about
yeah,
that Joe Flacco Baltimore Ravens team, an all-time great defense,
yeah,
and even before that. So like, you know, having to make that switch defensively allowed me to appreciate just the sport a little bit more. But it also allowed me to use a lot of those gifts that I learned being a receiver and learning body movement and body control and positioning myself. Now I can actually flip the script on whoever I'm guarding because I know what they're going to do because I was that. So I
yeah.
definitely think it helped me in my transition having that experience as a receiver.
Yeah, you were our fastest linebacker. You cleaned the highest. I read all the statistics. You were like, our strongest linebacker. You were our fastest linebacker. All of those things were working for us, man.
Appreciate it.
Um, yeah, well, that's what I do. I didn't get to play on the team, and you got to. They were building all of those facilities when I was in college. So I've got a little more gray hair, so I'm a little more. But also just wanted to, so you, not only are you now a really successful producer, writer of the All American show, and you've got a lot of other programs going on, but you've got a couple coffee shops, the Hilltop.
Yes.
I've got some place to come get some coffee when I'm selling wine in LA. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, yes. Whenever any of you guys watching in LA, actually, I'm wearing the hoodie right now.
Oh yeah.
But I was the first investor in a coffee shop called Hilltop Coffee and Kitchen.
Yep.
We have 3 locations, one in Eagle Rock, one in Inglewood, actually two in Inglewood.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, we have plans to build out a few more over the next couple of years, and then possibly go after venture capital money to just make it a national brand. Um, you know, COVID,
You're
COVID.
crazy, man.
Well, I mean, it's just having really really cool friends that are doing interesting things that just allow me to be part of it.
Yeah.
Though the guys I'm talking about, they're in the restaurant industry and they've been successful with other ventures. And I'd say about 2017, 18, about the time that I was thinking about stepping away from the game and going all in on All American,
Yep.
we were having those same conversations of like, we want to put something in our neighborhood, but what should it be? And once we landed on a coffee shop and kind of built out the brand, we realized that our community would really, show out for it. So we have 3 locations. We have letter of intents from a handful of other locations that we're going to go in the future. But yeah, we're trying to make it something big. So um, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, it looks cool, man. It's I haven't been down there. I haven't been out in, I'll get
I
down
get
there
it.
probably
I
this
get it.
year.
Yeah.
I'm really jonesing to get out as much as I can. I'll actually be down in LA in October. I'll make sure
Oh, nice.
I shoot a photo and post it. But
Nice.
yeah, for sure. Well, listen, I just wanted to thank you for your time. So everyone, this was Spencer Paysinger. Please make sure you follow him on all of his social channels. You can click him right now and check it out. You also don't age, by the way. You look just like you did when you were playing football, man. So congratulations to that.
Thank you. I got more hair now, but I'm
A
yoga,
little
I'm
more hair.
Peloton. I don't do heavy weights anymore. I'm like, I want to stand up straight when I'm 60 and run around with my kids right now. So I'm yoga, I'm Peloton, I'm meditation. Like, keep those weights away from me.
Got it. Well, and so is there anything, you got a huge audience here, and I apologize, everyone, I turned off the comments, but I just wanted to finish it out. Season 4 just got greenlit for All American. Congratulations. Anything you want to tell your fans right now?
Yeah, season 4 we should be premiering. If everything goes to schedule, it should be sometime in October. We don't have
Oh,
the
shoot.
official,
Right on.
sorry, don't have the official announcement yet. The spinoff should be, we should be starting to film that later on in the year, so we can kind of hit you guys back to back with those. But overall, thank you guys for watching. You can follow me on all my socials. It's all my socials are Paysinger without the vowels, like you guys see here.
Yeah.
And again, and to you, thank you for having me on here. This has been great, and the wine's been amazing. And trust me, my wife has had a fun time with this wine over the past couple of days, weeks. So I'm excited to keep diving into it.
Yeah. Well, you guys come on up and we'll show you what the whole show looks like, man.
Absolutely.
Well, everyone, this is Spencer Paysinger for the Walt Wines Happy Hour. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yes, thank you. You guys take
You
care.
bet. Anytime. Have a great time. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
So thanks for joining us today. For all the people that came to check out Spencer, All Americans, a great show. Make sure you check that out. Be sure to follow us on Walt Wines at waltwines.com so you can see all of the new guests that we've got booked for season 2. This is the season 2 of our Walt Wines Happy Hour. We're back. We're going to keep doing these. We've got some exciting people. So I hope that everyone has a great afternoon. I hope you have a great glass of wine or whatever finds your glass. Be good and drink well. Cheers.